Okay, so as stated before, guys, if there's any issues with lag, video or audio, let me know ASAP so we can take care of them. But for now, we hop into today, assuming everything's going to be okay. So, it's already all set up. Oh wait, hotkeys. Oh, hotkeys. That Overlord on 2. Alright, anyways. Welcome to the Kaspersky Arena number 11, guys. There are 5 great players going at it today for a total of 1,000 euro to be earned throughout the day. This very first round is worth 100 euro. Nothing too crazy. No, wait, not 100. Is it? Math, hang on. Yes, anyways, without further ado, the best of 5 begins. And spawning in the lower central portion of Polar Knight, it is the Blue Zerg player from VP Pen Q, Slivko, whose logo looks fantastic. And his opponent in the north, the Red Zerg player known as Lambo. Now, if you guys have seen a couple of Zotacs and a couple of Go for StarCraft from time to time, you've seen both of these players. Love StarCraft 2. I am one of the few who prefer foreigners over most other matchups. That being said, with the lineup today, I'm going to have to wish both of these guys a lot of luck because there's some really heavy hitters they're going to have to chew through. Whoever makes it out of this first round, this very first best of 5, will go on to fight against, I believe it is Crass? Is it Crass or Grubby? Hang on, I should just have this thing. This is what you get when you wake up to cast. Your brain's not as alert as you think it is. There we go. Yes, it will be Cress. It was not incorrect. The winner of that goes on to fight against Grubby. The winner of that goes on to fight Hero Marine in the very end. So lots of really good players here ready to rock and roll today. And well, BenQ or Slivko. Slivko in his name is like the longest name next to Happy Zerg. I actually don't know which of these two has the longer name, but anyways, it looks like they decided to do pool first versus hatch first in reversal of one another. Nothing too insane. It's, well, let's be honest, it's standard ZVZ. No one's playing gasless though, which is what I do find a bit curious. I do really like watching gasless openers in this matchup. I don't think it's the best per se, but it can be really effective at holding against early aggression. And in game number 1, you never really know what your opponent's going to do. Like, you can't feel out whether they're going to be rushing to go for a lot of lings early. Maybe they want to get that Roach Swarm ASAP, go for +1 Carapace upgrades, what have you. And sometimes having the double evolution chamber, the Roach Horn, and like 3 queens and a Spinecrawler, 4 queens if you're really desperate, can be a really, really solid way to defend against the unknown. And I love the little logos, by the way. Like, the fact that they've been incorporating Carbot so much is, I think, actually really fantastic. Anyways, we'll see if anyone pulls off at 100 gas. That'll be the first thing to look for, because that means it'll probably be a very, very heavy speedling all-in. Chances are, again, though, it's not going to be the case. Roaches are very popular in Storm Mutalisks, and not so many people love fighting the Muta Wars. So you'll see them kind of do these weird little... there's a lot of times where you'll see, like, Roaches into someone else going Mutalisks, and you rarely see Muta versus Muta or Roach versus Roach as, like, the opener in a best of 5, but you will, of course, eventually see those. So it's somewhat limited on the options of what you can do. But for now, just spreading creep, getting a Baneling nest up, both players at the exact same time. One out of base, one in base. So this doesn't really mean a whole lot. There's a lot of people who like overly read into this and try and tell you like, oh, well, it's because it's a best of, you're not a best of 1, and you know you want to be safe than sorry, blah blah blah. But I gotta be honest, guys, through just casting experience, one of the biggest worries of Zerg players is losing the Baneling nest when it's up at the front like this. You know, maybe a Speedling all-in takes it down real quick, and suddenly you've got no Banelings to defend with. But like, and I'm not even kidding, like without exaggerating, like 55 out of 56 times or something, this ends up just paying off so much better for the queen to have that little nook to hide behind. And yes, you can try and do it with the Spinecrawler, but if you're trying to be really cheap and squeeze out every little bit of minerals you can't really afford that Spinecrawler. It delays your lair. And as we see, we actually have the Spinecrawler coming down after the lair here. Slivko is going to be getting that down. And a couple lings on the map, a couple Banelings being morphed in. Well, unfortunately, inside of the Overlord. Looks like Slivko, though, not too worried about this. His own Banelings, as well as 18 more lings on the way. It might not have the full wall off yet, but he doesn't know that he needs it or not. And I'm not talking about like a full wall off, and I mean Evolution Chambers and Roach Warrens assisting. But Roach Warren is going to come down in the main instead. He's not going to have that to help. Banelings are going to trade out for Banelings in a worst case scenario, but looks like he actually snipes them off with some good Spinecrawler control as well as those Queens. A couple Lings trying to bait out these Baneling hits, not going to quite be successful. And while the Banelings of Slivko are a little bit low, they're not in any real danger. And Lambo actually in full retreat now. Catches a very, very unfortunate hit there. Not the greatest trade with the Baneling, but kind of one he's forced to do. Slivko's going to get on top of these Banelings. Always a bit of a gamble. You never quite know how far along they are as far as morphing goes, but you know, it's the worst case scenario. When you can do this full surround, they finish morphing and kablam, you lose everything. But Lambo gonna chase this back for the time being. Neither player really underreacting to the other, and no one overreacting either. But Slivko does have his roaches on the way, whereas Lambo's stuck with a lot of Lings. In the middle of the map, catching a fight with Lings is actually not too bad. You can often get a surround with the roaches and get pretty good results as far as the fight goes. But realistically, if it's roaches backed against a wall, against your Zerglings, you're not going to win that fight. So we do see Lambo now investing into his own roaches, and as predicted, can have that very classical version of this matchup going. Lambo getting some pretty decent trades here. I actually really like having Lings added into the army of the roaches too for both players. They do serve as a minor DPS boost, but more importantly, they soak those hits. Like if 18 roaches are volleying down one Ling at a time, and your opponent's just hammering at you with his own roaches and not worrying about like wasting shots on Lings, you're gonna lose that fight. But lots of roaches coming out. More Lings for Slivko. This might be too many. I'm curious about his choice to invest in this many, but trying to run past is Lambo not gonna quite get the free ride he wanted to. A couple decent Baneling hits. Make sure the Ling damage here is gonna be somewhat minimal. Yeah, even a Baneling was brought back just in case, but Spinecrawler and the Queen will hold on to this. A big attack has begun on the other side of the map, though. Roaches colliding into roaches and some Banelings trading out. Banelings might not seem like the optimal choice to have in this composition, but remember, as roaches clump, they will share that AoE damage, and a little bit of splash can go a long way. And as we see, yeah, they're not exactly doing bonus damage for the roaches, but Lambo is being driven back in a big way. His roach number is not bad, and if he can get a fight around the Spinecrawler, he may just be able to hold with that defender's advantage, but it's going to be rough. There's so many Lings here. Another Baneling's going to come forward and gets sniped off, actually. The Baneling was a bit of a scary thing because Lambo just made some more Lings to reinforce with, or not made, but had the Lings still there to reinforce with. So if he had lost that clump, that cannon fodder, that could have been like a very, very bad fight. But not too dissuaded by this, either player. This one Ling in the main is gonna get a drone kill here. Something he should not have been allowed to do, but whatever. Evolution Gem on the way here for Slivko. It's going to put his upgrades a little bit behind that of Lambo's, but Lambo, of course, not exactly going to eke out a huge victory with a +1 upgrade. It will still come down primarily to numbers and positioning more than anything else. It is so frustrating because, like, in other matchups, you know, your +1 upgrades actually play a pretty big deal, but when it's like +1 versus 0-0 naked roaches, it's like, well, I got 10 more roaches than you. Who the hell cares? But third base trying to be established right now for Slivko. This is not nearly as important as it normally would be in another matchup. But hang on, is this really his first layer? Okay, so late with the speed, but not by a whole lot. We'll see if that comes into effect or not. Defensively speaking, could be problematic. Just a bit of a passive game for the time being. Both players are going to try and lock down their thirds. I don't think anyone's going to go too aggressive. One of the big things for Slivko... Ooh, Mr. Allied Overlord, I guess, is going to cost him. One of the big things for Slivko, though, was he did try and get on top of Lambo's hatchery. If that defense hadn't been so quick, he may have dedicated more into it as a follow-up, but he saw and he still sees how much Lambo has to defend with, and as a Zerg player, you know, you often hear people talk about the defender's advantage, and one of the biggest parts of that is just your ability to reinforce outmatches your opponent, and it might only be by like 3 or 4 roaches. That's still enough to do a victory if controlled correctly, but Lambo will have the upgrade leads in both regards to armor and weapons, albeit temporarily for weapons. Changeling has been put down. I don't know, it's gonna see a whole lot. I don't like the army moving up for Lambo though. His roach count's not too bad, but this is going to be a defensive Spinecrawler. There'll be a couple Queens added into the fray. Worst case scenario, Jones are pulled for some more cannon fodder, but we'll see how this goes if he decides to engage. I do like this hit squad he kind of split off. I wish this was a couple of roaches trying to run past, not just Lings, because as we see, the Lings are just kind of sideswiped before they can connect anything. I don't think anything actually died there other than the Lings, but Bit of an awkward fight here at the start of this. Trying to take the top of the ramp there to get his concave off. Bottom of the ramp works out too if your overlords stay alive, and there's no anti-air to shut them down. So for both players, this choke is not really an advantage. It's going to be the positioning in which they take the fight on this choke that will really decide who's going to come out victorious. But backing off for now. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Lambo wait till he's maxed out to move again, but Slivko is coming across the map with a very superior force. Army count is 52 to 37 roaches. That's a big number to have to overcome. 42 roaches now for Lambo, going to help a little bit more. Still positioning is going to be key here, guys. Who gets this around? Looks like it's going to be Lambo here initially, but Slivko's got the numbers, and as he pushes forward here into the roaches, we do see just this line of back and forth between both players. Watching the unit counting station right now, it looks like Slivko is taking this fight pretty decisively. Lambo might have those upgrades going for him, but is the defender's advantage going to be enough is going to be the big question. It's still a lot heavier in the favor of Slivko, but he's got to come across the map to reinforce, and it looks like even so, will still be more than enough. Spinecrawler is going to go down. I don't think it's going to get a chance to fight. I like the burrow and the roaches. That's kind of a cute move. It keeps them alive for later and also heals them up. Overseer being morphed in, though, means this is going to only go away undealt with for so long. Roaches do unburrow, force a drone pull, but I'm thinking this is about it for Lambo. He's putting out a pretty good defense here, and then he's reinforcing roaches from both players are about to reach the battle at the same time, strangely enough. But both players still just pumping roaches for the time being. These drones a little bit stuck behind the roach wall, can't quite soak the way they want to. And without that Spinecrawler, I don't know how well this will work. Transfuse does go down, and the queen is, of course, desperately badly injured, but it doesn't really matter. Trying to get into the fight one way or another. Slivko's supply is still ahead by just that enough amount. The roaches are trying to burrow for some health, but of course we got the Overseer nearby, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. And while this has been a bit of a perpetual war, I think Slivko's about to take this. Yeah, good game's going to be called. Alright, game number 1 of the day. Going to VP BenQ Slivko. But it's a best of 5, dudes. We got plenty more on the way.